Help you then.
Oops.
All right.
Okay, it's 1 o'clock. I'm going to call the September 5th Board of Commissioner meeting to order. Today we'll start out with a prayer from Commissioner Sarkella and the pledge from Commissioner Eha.
Dear Lord, we thank you for this day and for the opportunity to gather in a free country. We ask that you help us remember all laborers and the many things that they provide us. We're grateful for all that they do. We ask that you would be with us and give us guidance and wisdom in the decisions that we make today, and to remember always that all good things come through you. In your son's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Leslie, roll call, please.
District 1 Chairman John Block.
Present.
District 2 Commissioner Roger Ballard.
Present.
District 3 Commissioner Gary Heberling.
Here.
District 4 Commissioner Bill Sarkella.
Present.
District 5 Commissioner Christine Lee. Here. District 6 Commissioner Evans Ehart.
Here.
District 7 Commissioner John Moody.
Here.
Thank you, Leslie.
You're welcome.
Okay, we do have some adjustments to our agenda. Under appointments for the airport ZBA, we're going to remove the name Richard J. Meany. And we're also going to remove the appointment to one alternate member. So it'll just say appoint 4 members, and then they'll have the 4 names listed. That is the only amendment to the agenda that I have. If there are any others, hear them now. Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the amended agenda.
Support.
I have a motion of support to adopt the amended agenda. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Agenda is adopted. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to adopt our August 15th meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve as presented. Support.
A motion from Commissioner Ballard, support from Commissioner Ehart. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. At this time, we have an introduction here. If you would like to.
Yes. We're honored to have our new superintendent of Sandusky Community Schools, Kurt Dennison, here with us. And I actually invited him to come and introduce himself to the community so you get to know him. And I had a little pun joke with him here a couple weeks ago. I said, he's from the Bad Axe areas where he came from. So I said, he's a nasty hatchet, so we're going to have to bury the hatchet. But I've got to talk to him many times since he's been here, and he's going to be a great asset for our school and our community. So, Kurt?
Well, that's what we're hoping.
Yeah.
I think that's what they hired me for. But no, I just want to stop and introduce
Kurt, if you want it, can you come up here?
Oh, I can.
Yep.
If you want. But I appreciate the invite, and I just wanted to introduce myself to the commissioners and the public. Hey, my name is Kurt Dennis. Gary got that part right. I do come from Bad Axe. I was up there in that educational system for 20 some years. I'm originally from the Upper Peninsula. Super excited to be here. So I wanted to kind of get out and introduce myself and invite people if you have any issues or you'd like to clue me in on some things. I'm certainly, my office is always open. My contact information is on the school website, or gladly will come out to your meetings wherever you might be. So I think I might be illegally parked, so I don't want to stay long. But there's some police officers in this general area.
The couple of them guys could take care of that over on that side.
Maybe you don't free pass. But no, more or less, if there's any questions or anything, I just wanted to come introduce myself and appreciate being able to be involved in local government.
Any questions for Kurt?
What part of the UP did you come from?
Iron Mountain.
Oh, okay. I just did a bike tour up there the 1st of August.
Okay. Beautiful up there.
Almost 1,400 miles. Yeah.
It is.
But I can see why you would leave. Long winters.
The winters are tough. If I was independently wealthy, a nice inland lake somewhere would be beautiful for about 3-4 months a year.
There you go.
But the rest of it, they can keep. I've had enough of that.
Yep.
Sure. So.
Well, thank you, Kurt, for coming, and appreciate it. And welcome to our BOC meeting, and welcome to our courthouse.
Thank you very much. So far, it's been perfect. All right.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Yeah.
Okay, that will conclude introductions. So we'll move into commissioner reports, and we will start with Commissioner Ballard.
Oh, okay, let's see, where'd I go? 2 weeks ago, I was in Lamont Township for their meeting. They're working on a blight enforcement regulatory ordinance. Like most townships, they have blight issues. And they announced their annual hog roast, which is a pretty big event for Lamont Township, is October 6th. Where else did I go? Didn't go to City of Marlette. That's coming up next couple weeks. But they do have Marlette Family Fall Fun Days coming, or Fun Day, excuse me, September 16th from 11 to 3. It's they close down Main Street, a lot of kids' activities, car show, typical festivals, events. So if you're not doing anything, it's usually good weather. So we'll see what happens this year. And that's all I got.
Thanks, Roger. Gary?
Thank you, John. Yes, I'd like to report on 3 different topics here, and I'll try to move through quickly. Last Monday, in fact, we met with Erin Carlson from Sandusky Community Schools. As you know, and before her was George Lasecki, helped redo the monument up here and did our campus, and they put the flags up and the plaques, I think 6 different times during the year. And there's been some discussion about the amount of flags that we're getting out there. A lot of people signed up and paid to have flags put out there and their plaques put out there. And it's getting to the point where we're running out of room, not only in the building where we store it, but also the flags and the plaques. And then on top of that, because of the construction they're going to do next summer out here on M46, they're going to take away some of our space that we had in front of the sidewalk. So there's been some updates on it, but I just want to finish up how that meeting went. It was Ryan Palmer, the principal of Sandusky School. Aaron was here. There was a couple VFW people here in the meeting, and also Nathan was in here. So what our plans are and what we're going to move forward with, we obviously can't keep adding flags. We're running out of room. The plaques take up a lot of room. So number one, we're going to, at some point in time here with the next few months, do a cutoff on the amount of flags. And so we're going to give time to do that. So if there's people that wanted to do that, or probably till maybe the end of the year to do that, there will be a cutoff on that. The plaques we plan to give back to the VFW members and their families, so they have them. And most of you have seen the new monument or the reconstructed monument we put out here 3 years ago. There's room for approximately a 12 by 12 pillar on each end of that. To finish that off, the kids are going to raise money for that. And then we'll list all the names that are on the plaques now. Those will all go on those on the pillars we put out there. They'll be etched in. And we found out in that meeting that MDOT come back and said they are not going to take the whole thing away out here in front of the sidewalk. Just, I think there's 50 or 75 feet on this street and this street. So I think it was a good plan, and that's what we're going to move forward with. And obviously, you know, if you want input to it, obviously we want to hear your input. But I think it was the best thing we could come up with at the time, and probably long term or short term. One of the things that was brought up is not everybody's going to probably want to do this forever. We've had a George Lasecki, we've had an Aaron Carlson that took on this duty, and as time goes, you know, things change. So we figured that was the best way to handle it. So, second of all, I have 2 meetings tonight. One is Watertown Township, the other is Sandusky City Council, and then of course Roger and I have the planning committee. So that's going to be my night tonight. And then
You mean parks?
Parks, yes, sir. Sorry. And yeah. So and the meetings I've attended the last month been the Parks Board meetings, county planning meeting, and ARPA. A few later we're going to talk about ARPA and that. So great. End of my report.
Thank you, Gary. Bill?
Quickly, just Port Sanilac, continuing with their SEFA discussion, and then they've had all their festivals, et cetera. The Blues Festival was very successful beginning of August, and also the summer festival that they put on. They had a really nice recognition program for Dawn Malick at the museum. She retired. Lady has grandchildren now, so you can understand that. And she's done a lot of good programs there for 6 years at the museum. And then there is some new construction on the horizon. There will be some, if they can get everything approved, some expansion with housing there as well. So we're looking forward to seeing where that goes. That's all I have.
Thank you, Bill. Christine?
I had a meeting at the Village of Peck. They're looking in the process of hiring one new police officer. They're redoing their committees and renaming some, making new ones, combining some other ones and eliminating others. And they made a new planning commission. They appoint 3 members for 2-year term and 2 members of the council for a 1-year term for a total of 5 members. That's my report.
Thank you, Christine. I'm going to discuss something that came to everybody in Immaculate last week. I don't know if everybody saw it in their inbox, but the governor gave a speech here recently where she's outlining her fall agenda for the legislature. And part of that agenda is alternative energy, and the big push is on for that. Unfortunately, our governor has decided that she wants to ask the legislator to remove local control from the siting of wind turbines and solar panels. So essentially what that means, if she gets her way, is all it would require would be for a landowner to sign a lease, but then the rules and procedures revolving around the siting of those land uses would be handled by the state, not by local jurisdictions, which is obviously a huge issue for Santa Ana County and the state in general. So I imagine we'll see massive pushback on that issue. I would expect this board to pass a resolution opposing something like that. So I think we'll see something here within the next month pertaining to that. I did reach out to our state representative, Alexander. He's aware of the situation. He also opposes any attempt for the state to take away local control. But as anybody who pays attention to politics knows, he is in the minority in Lansing currently. So if the Democrats decided to do that anyways, there might not be anything that they'd be able to do to stop. So it's something that we'll keep an eye on, and we'll encourage other municipalities within Santa Ana County, whether it be a township or a city or a village, to oppose that as well. That's all I have for a commissioner report. Evans?
I attended the Lexington Council meeting last week. Nothing pressing coming out of there right now. And then a few committee meetings, but I'll get that in the committee part.
Thank you, Evans. John?
On August 16th, I attended the special meeting for Fremont Township. The purpose of that special meeting was the township discussed how to address the lawsuit to the township by Algonquin Power, which was filed here in Santa Ana County Circuit Court. I attended also on the 16th Worth Township's board meeting. They had some guest speakers there. Lynn Rowe from the Lexington Library talked about their expansion of their library. Ray Garrett from the Santa Ana County Road Commission with some ditch project information. And Deputy Brandon Johnson was at the meeting giving his stats for the last couple months. They have a contract with the sheriff's office that township does, and they have a 40-hour deputy there, and then they have a couple of deputies throughout the week also on like a 20-hour contract. There was 6 resolutions that they had for street light special assessments. And that's about it.
Okay. Thank you, John. That will conclude commissioner reports. Administrator Roski was here this morning to be part of a personnel committee meeting, but he wasn't feeling well. So he did go home. He will not participate in our meeting today. That will move us into public comments pertaining to the agenda today. Are there any public comments pertaining to today's agenda?
I have a question, if that's okay.
Public comment pertaining to the agenda only.
Pertaining to what you had discussed just a moment ago.
Okay.
Should the state of Michigan decide to pass laws to remove local control of our government, wouldn't it be in the best interest of our citizens and our community to prepare for legal action against the state? Should they pass such legislation, or is that?
That's a question I'm not prepared to answer at this time. This is all preliminary, just started. So I don't have an answer for that. Any further public comment pertaining to today's agenda? Is it pertaining to the agenda?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want me to come up here?
Please, and state your name for the clerk.
Okay. I heard your comments about the flags and stuff. You're staying, you run out of room.
Why don't we move the flags to the?
That's not pertaining to today's agenda, so
Or
you're
just we talked about his.
it's not on the agenda.
Yeah, that's my report.
It's fine. There is a second opportunity for general public comments at the end of the
Wait,
meeting.
then I thought that's what it was about.
That's not a problem.
Okay, sorry about that.
We'll have you back up during general public comments. Okay, see no further general public or public comments pertaining to the agenda today. We will move on to interviews for our Airport Zoning Board of Appeals. The first up is Douglas Gorge. Doug, can you come up and tell us a little bit about yourself? We appreciate you being here today.
I was a dentist in the community for 37 years. And after I retired, I was recruited for different boards. And so I'm the zoning administrator for Custer Township. And I'm also on the airport zoning board. And I feel that since the airport is in Custer Township, it's important for one of the whoever is the zoning administrator to be participating on the airport zoning boards too. I feel the board has been good. I've been on it for what, how long have we been? 4 years?
17.
Yeah, it's 4 years. And we seem to have a good group. They're intelligent, they ask good questions, and so far we have not had an issue that we have to resolve. There is something from the windmills down by Fremont Township. That all depends on what happens in the townships down there, if that reaches us for a decision too. But I've enjoyed being on the board, and I think I add some intelligence and some views from being on the zoning administrator for Custer Township.
Any questions for Doug? Seeing none, we appreciate you being here today, and we appreciate your service to the community.
Thank you.
Next up is Timothy Jewell. I don't believe Tim is here.
I believe he called in and said he couldn't.
Yeah, yep. Steve Scribner. I don't see Steve here today either. Joel Wyatt. State your name. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name is Joel Wyatt, and I've moved into Satellite County about 17 years ago. Chose to raise my children in this fine county. Since then, I've undertaken some duties, not only in the county, but outside of the county. Currently, I'm the zoning administrator, ordinance enforcement officer in Grant Township, which is along the border of southern Satellite County. I also served for two terms as a Satellite County commissioner in District 5, now headed by Moody. So I have a little bit of a zoning experience, and I understand that the Zoning Board of Appeals pertaining to the airport has a very specific function. It's not really broad in its interpretive value, but it does have a specific function. I have looked at the Zoning Appropriations Act, and I understand the reasons why we have boards of appeals. I understand the function that they have going forward. So I'd like to continue serving the community. I'm currently a firefighter down in Grant Township. I run a business in Lexington, pouring taxes into our state coffers on a regular basis. And I hope to serve as a member of the Zoning Board of Appeals.
Okay. Any questions for Joel? Seeing none, we appreciate you being here today.
Yeah.
Thanks, Joel. Okay, next up will be interviews for the Planning Commission. Jeff Alexander is not here. He did call and state to tell me that he would not be here today. Paul Cowley is also not here. Scott Kenny. Scott, you're here. Step up, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Some of you know me, some of you don't. My name is Scott Kenny, lifelong resident of Satellite County. I've been on the Planning Commission for 3 years and the chairperson for the past 2. I've been through the citizen planner training at MSU, several online classes. I am scheduled to be in January, certified zoning administrative class.
Speak up.
Yep. During that time, we went through the COVID meetings and solar wind ordinances, and spent a lot of time on the master plan. I've been all over the county to get input from different boards and people, and I've met a lot of great people that really care about Satellite County. It's the best thing that came out of that. I'd be honored if he chose me to continue to be on the board. I'll keep it short. a lot going on today.
Good. Any questions for Scott? Scott, we appreciate your service to the county.
Thank you.
And I also see on the planning commission, John Kinnear is listed. He is also not here today. That will conclude interviews. At this time, we will appoint to boards. At this time in 13A, we have appointments to standing committees, the Airport Zoning Board of Appeals. There are 4 members with 4 names listed. I'll entertain a motion to enter those names into nomination for those positions. And then also, basically, because there's no competition, we're not going to do secret ballots. It'll just be a motion to enter those 4 names. And then when we solidify that, those people will be appointed.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to entertain the 4 names: Douglas Grange, Timothy Jewell, Steve Scribner, and Joel Wyatt as Airport Zoning Board of Appeals.
Okay, I have a motion. Is there support? I have support. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signal by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Doug, Tim, Steve, and Joel are all appointed to the Airport Zoning Board of Appeals. Congratulations and thank you for being here today. At this time, we have appointments to the Planning Commission. There are 4 names with room for 3. So I'll entertain a motion to enter the 4 names into nomination.
I'll make that motion that we enter the 4 names into the nomination for the planning commission.
I have a nomination motion from Commissioner Lee. Is there support?
Support.
Support from Bill. And then we'll use our secret ballots for voting. And the secret ballots are used only for in-meeting purposes. All the votes are published in the meeting minutes.
We need some Jeopardy music or something.
Let's spice it up a little bit.
Wipeout wouldn't be.
No. All the people in the room with cell phones, I wouldn't be surprised if that tone just started playing out there somewhere.
Okay. We have 5 votes for Jeff Alexander, 2 votes for Paul Cowley, 7 for Scott Kenny, and 7 for John Knorr.
Okay. Thank you, Leslie.
You're welcome.
So Jeff Alexander, Scott Kenny, and John Kinnear are reappointed. 2 are reappointed, 1 appointed to the Planning Commission for 3 terms. And Scott, thank you for being here today and appreciate your service on the Planning Commission as chair.
Thank you. I did want to say that the master plan should be to the commissioners next month.
When?
At your October meeting.
Yeah. I didn't know if everybody hearing. So
Yeah, it's quite elaborate. And a lot to go through. So.
Okay, that concludes appointments to committees. There's no need for chair appointments. We do have 1 general resolution under 15, and is a resolution supporting the Michigan Department of Natural Resources Trust Fund grant project. Bill, you want to read that one for us?
Resolution supporting Michigan Department of Natural Resources Trust Fund grant TF 22-0179 project agreement. Be resolved that the County of Sanilac, Lake, Michigan does hereby accept the terms of the TF 22-0179 project agreement as received from the Michigan Department of Natural Resources, MDNR, and that the Sanilac County Parks Commission does hereby specifically agree, but not by way of limitation, as follows: to appropriate all funds necessary, $687,383 to complete the project during the project period, and to provide $387,383 to match the grant authorized by the MDNR. To maintain satisfactory financial accounts, documents, and records to make them available to the MDNR for auditing at reasonable times. To construct the project, provide such fund services and materials as may be necessary to satisfy the terms of said agreement. to regulate the use of the facility constructed and reserved under the agreement to assure the use thereof by the public on equal and reasonable terms. And lastly, number 5, to comply with any and all terms of said agreement, including all terms not specifically set forth in the foregoing portions of this resolution.
Okay, I have a resolution from Commissioner Sarcella with support from Commissioner Ballard. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. Leslie, a roll call vote, please.
Commissioner Sarcella,
Yes.
Commissioner Ballard,
Yes.
Commissioner Ehart,
Yes.
Chairman Black,
Yes.
Commissioner Heberling,
Yes.
Commissioner Moody,
Yes.
Commissioner Lee.
Yes.
Resolution is adopted. Thank you, Leslie.
You're welcome.
Okay, that'll take us into committee reports. We will start with Commissioner Moody.
I had one, which was the medical care facility. In July or in June, they had an average of 72.5 residents. And then in July, it went down about 2 to 70.5. And they have no COVID cases at this time. And I have Michigan next on Friday.
Thank you, John. Evans?
Met control board last week. All we did was approve finances. I also had the community collab 2 weeks ago. And again, just all that is an update on all the programs and stuff that are going around in the county for any services that people may need, homelessness, hunger, such things, etc. So again, the programs are out there. You just need the help. Go look for it.
Okay, thank you, Evans. Gary and I had a planning commission meeting 2 weeks ago after our BOC meeting. Chairman Scott Kenny correctly identified the master plan is starting to wind down. We're kind of in the process where the planning commission is reviewing it. It'll then land here at this table. It goes out for public review. It'll go out to townships, and that process is on the cusp of getting started. But we may hold it up if we find issues with it at the planning commission level. It might take a little bit longer, but we'll keep working at it. Other than that, Gary and I had a 2-hour personnel committee meeting this morning, quite a few things on that agenda. We approved some things for the parks. There was some other requests that we denied. And one that's going to land in our finance meeting today is related to a lateral transfer program for the sheriff's department. And I think that that's going to be a big improvement for the recruitment potential for new people. So that is all I have for reports. Christine?
I had a child abuse prevention meeting, and they talked about, it was brought up that the baby pantry is only open during the certain times during the day. And some people requested that if they could have one evening a month, that would be very helpful. So they're trying to see how they want to do that. They're talking about maybe picking a date and say, make an appointment and we will help you out. Some members attended a conference and it was very informative. They found that a use of dogs when they interview the children that have been abused and whatever, that when they're interviewing, they don't open up. But if there's a dog there, that when that person leaves the room, the child will open up to the dog. And then when that person comes back, they will open up to the adult. So they found that's very helpful. And that's it for that. And then Council on Aging, they voted in new officers. They're looking at their bylaws, and they're going to update their bylaws. And that Open Door Pantry is starting to have some classes out there for senior citizens, like enhanced training or manner of balance to help them. They do blood pressure checks at all the meal sites, and that's all I have to report.
Thank you, Christine. Bill?
Nothing at this time.
Okay, Gary?
John has already talked about our planning committee, so there's not any reason to cover that and any further. But a couple weeks ago, we had an ARPA meeting, and one of the remaining things that we've addressed on our ARPA spending, it was the I don't want to say dog, those animal control, Anissa Sandusky, and back probably about 6 weeks ago, a few of us commissioners went down and did a walkthrough of that building. And I know in the township meetings I've been in, I know some of the township meetings, some of you commissioners have been, people question the cost of it, but the building is clearly somewhat of a detriment to not only to the animals, but to the people that work there. And it's a very old building, and we're moving forward with it. I guess I'll say that. So we did have an ARPA meeting, 3 weeks ago, and we have asked Nathan to get with the contractor, with the engineering firm, to figure out the way that hopefully we can get this thing put to bed and get an engineering drawings approved and get moving forward with it. All the while trying to save some money. And one thing I will say that we're putting a lot of ARPA money into that, probably about 3/4 of the bill. So it's not going to be a burden on the taxpayers. So I think that was a big plus. And I just want to compliment, not because I'm on it, but on that ARPA committee. I think that that group has done an excellent job with the ARPA money we received, not only with this project, but different projects throughout the county. So I applaud them for it. End of my report.
Thank you, Gary. Roger?
Last week I had a community mental health board meeting. They were approved as a demonstration site with the CCBHC grant. I'm not going to go into details there. I'm sure there will be some big announcements coming out, but it's going to mean a lot more accessible mental health care for the residents of the county, easier access, a lot more cooperation between mental health and healthcare. So that's pretty big news. We have a parks meeting tonight. That resolution that we just approved is another piece of the puzzle for the Evergreen project that I've been working on for 4 years now. Hopefully in the spring we can turn some dirt on that. We still have to get our plans in for the state to approve them, and then we can put them out for bids. So it's moving along slowly. Plan is the 11th to begin construction at Forester on that playscape. I'm going to make a call here in the next couple of days and adhere them guys to that date that we were promised. The CMH board, they have their annual suicide awareness and remembrance walk coming up on the 9th. That program starts at 9:30. They tried it in Lexington last year. The attendance wasn't as good, so they've moved it back here to Sandusky. So hopefully they have some good weather for that. And I believe that's it.
Great. Thank you, Roger. Appreciate everyone's committee reports. I see no need for unfinished business as there's nothing listed, which will move into new business. And we will start with FA 118-23.
Stanley County Board of Commissioners hereby approves the payment of current claims for 2023 identified on the accounts payable report dated August 29, 2023 for the general bank account, the amount of $360,875.87.
Support. I have a motion from Finance Chairman Sarkella, support from Commissioner Ballard. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 119-23, budget adoptions, amendments, appropriations, and transfers.
Stanley County Board of Commissioners hereby approves the following amendments, transferred, and establishes the following accounts as listed.
Support.
I have a motion from Commissioner Sarkella, support from Commissioner Lee. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 120-23, authorization for courthouse closure.
Stanley County Board of Commissioners hereby authorizes the closure of the courthouse offices on Friday, September 22nd from 11:30 a.m. to 1:00 p.m. for the purpose of conducting the annual employee picnic.
Support. I have a motion from Commissioner Sarkella, support from Commissioner Ehart. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 121-23, adoption of 2023 millage rates.
Stanley County Board of Commissioners hereby adopts the 2023 final millage rates as follows. County roads 2.0, library 0.2, seniors 0.25, medical control 0.20, county drug task force 0.5, county parks 0.2, Medicare facility 0.2, 911 emergency 0.2, veterans 0.2, save council 0.2, and recycle 0.15.
Support.
Okay, I have a motion from Commissioner Sarkella, support from Commissioner Moody. Is there discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 122-23, award and authorized sewer extension project.
Sand Lake County Board of Commissioners hereby awards and authorizes Nickel and Sons of Cass City to low bid for the Evergreen Park Sewer Extension Project at a cost not to exceed $465,244.80 with funding of $300,000 from ARPA funds and $165,244.80 from the Parks Millage.
Support.
I have a motion from Commissioner Sarkella, support from Commissioner Ballard. Is there discussion?
That bid came in at well under our 600, I believe it was at $605,000 projected cost. So it was pretty having a local company do that.
Very good. Any further discussion related to FA 122-23? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Moving on to FA 123-23, authorization of change order.
Sand Lake County Board of Commissioners hereby authorizes a change order from Santoro Services for the Forest Park Playground Project for the purpose of relocating one existing play structure to the north area of the park at a cost not to exceed $15,195 for immediate approval with funding from the Parks Millage.
Support. I have a motion from Commissioner Sarkella, support from Commissioner Ehart. Is there discussion?
This play structure is where the new equipment is going in, and it didn't fit with the design. It's got a lot of life left in it. So there's an area on the north end that could use playground equipment. So we figured that was the best way to take care of that.
Is that one going where that old jungle gym is on the north side?
Yeah, it's going up in that area.
Okay.
Yep.
Any further discussion related to FA 123-23? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. I believe that concludes new business, which will take us into general public comments. So we have some general public comments today. State your name for the clerk, go up to the podium, and we have a 3-minute time limit.
Thank you. Thank you, Sand Lake County Board of Commissioners. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Scott Ogney. I'm from Jackson County, and I'm the organizer of the nonprofit Citizens for Electoral Justice. And I'm a whistleblower with regards to the investigation of public election records. And it is part of what is known as the locus standi investigations. And we're investigating the alteration and in some cases, the unlawful destruction of public election records. And I've been working on this for a little over 2 years now. I work hand in hand with a group called Election Integrity Force. And I am working with citizens within this county, and we intend to file criminal complaints against public officials in Lansing here within 2 weeks. I have been in communication with the county clerk, Hilgendorf, and she's been very cooperative to at least listen to what we've had to say. But I can tell you our public election records are being altered. They're being destroyed unlawfully. Violations of both state and federal laws have been occurring. This is broad. We have criminal investigations we have investigations about 22 counties. We have reached law enforcement in some prosecutors' offices. In other counties, law enforcement, we filed cases, I believe, in 12 to 14 counties thus far. In Sand Lake County will be in addition to this. We have cases that we'll be filing shortly in Huron County and in St. Clair County. We have cases filed in Macomb County and in Lapeer County. We've got some legal work to do with the prosecutor in Lapeer County. But there's an extensive lawless culture coming out of the Michigan Bureau of Elections and the Office of Secretary of State. As a matter of fact, the Office of the Clerks in Sand Lake County and the entire state received a directive on Friday not to disclose any QVF data reports anymore. Michigan Bureau of Elections has entered into a culture of obstruction of justice. It has to do with particular evidence to prove that they are altering the public records in violation of MCL 750.248. How am I doing on time?
You're almost done.
Okay, all right. I am requesting an opportunity to speak before this board again on the 19th. I am devoting 2 days to come into Sand Lake County to file criminal complaints, but I would like to show the board of commissioners of Sand Lake County what exactly is going on with the public records and the data of our election records. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have business cards if anybody would like one.
Okay.
Thank you. I have some, Scott. You'll have it.
So what he just referenced, the memorandum, is essentially put out by the Bureau of Elections every 2 years, right on the first page of that packet, entitled evidence. And you can see there, they explicitly inform the clerks that they have to destroy the electronic poll books by December 5th of 2022. So 2 of these memoranda go out every time we have an election year, essentially. So every 2 years. And they're basically informing our clerks to break the law. That's essentially what it comes down to. Because if you flip forward to the next packet of evidence, which says Michigan laws broken, you've got Michigan laws broken, and then you've got federal laws broken. But under Michigan laws, you can see right there from what I've highlighted, just demonstrating that, you know, you're not allowed to conceal, you're not allowed to alter, destroy. And when it came to the poll books, we have a destruction of essentially a piece of evidence that could be used in a future investigation or proceeding. So, yeah, I mean, everything's spelled out in here, guys, as far as all the Michigan laws individually, the federal laws, which there's also going to be a forthcoming, I don't know if it's filed yet or not quite, but there's a forthcoming federal lawsuit involved as well. So on top of that, you get to the next packet after the federal laws, and you would see that what we have is directives with regards to how these laws are supposed to be affected by the police. And it's very specific in here. These laws were passed by very smart men in 1955, that it's imperative that the police do their job and are, upon anyone reporting a violation of these laws, they are required by this law to essentially bring proceedings. Page 2 of that is the prosecutors, and page 3 is duly elected officials. So you guys can mull this over as much as you want. On the last page, I think I threw some news stories in there. If you want, you can contact the Michigan GOP chair of election integrity, Phil O'Halloran. He's happy to verify all of this because I believe he was an important integral figure in all of these news stories that came out of the Gateway Pundit. They just come out within the last year and a half because this has been buried that long. So thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Are there any other further public comments, Don?
For those that don't know me, my name's Don Johnston. I'm the airport manager at Sandusky City Airport and also the Skyline County Airport zoning administrator. Back in 2014, I went to the bathroom and I came back and I got elected manager. So that happens when you go not around. And then in 2017, I worked with the state of Michigan to get airport zoning law to protect both. First of all, I went to just do Sandusky Airport, then the commissioners recommended to do the county, in turn took in Marlette Township Airport, which was a good, I didn't realize that it'd get this big, and I thought, you know, maybe just 1 or 2 permits a year, but it is getting, and I just want to thank John for stepping up and kind of keeping me in line, and Nathan, because like you say, it's I didn't want to end up in jail because and there is procedures we're trying to get resolved and everything like that. I just want to thank them for, you know, getting me straight. And as you know, this airport's been growing. I mean, it's just phenomenal with what's happening out there now. There's a company there that actually assembles aircraft, and people from all over the United States and the country, as far as that goes, come here and spend a couple of weeks as far as build assist programs. So, and that's something down the future. I'll have a slideshow demonstration. And of course, we've had quite a few events that the public's been really, you know, we have our fly-in. I know Gary's been there a few times, and we'll serve 700 to 800 people, which is phenomenal for our area. And then we had Christmas in July program this year for foster kids and a bunch of other programs for the community. And we're having a October 5th. It's a pretty unique event. We're going to have a 5K plus youth walk for the runway. So we're going to shut the runway down at night and then turn the lights on, and they'll do a 5K in McKinsey Hospitals. The funds to go to Women's Awareness Health. And like I say, I just wanted to thank John and Nathan for, like I say, at least I just don't want to, because it's becoming now, I live in Fremont Township. It is what it is, but, thanks again. And I know I get old and grumpy sometimes, John, so.
we get along pretty good, don't we?
That's right. All right.
Don, while you're up there, I'd like to say that I do appreciate your input and your involvement, because without people like you driving these issues forward, we wouldn't have the protections for our airports that we have in this county. Yes. And as Don said, if anybody ever gets to peek their head in that beautiful hangar that's at the City of Sandusky Airport, what they are doing inside that isn't a gem for this community. Yeah. What a fantastic thing. It's a point of pride really for us.
Yeah. And there's
Casey, if you want to go take photos and put it in the paper.
We did.
Did you? Okay. Yeah.
There's 3 families in there now that's spending, because they'd have to do once the aircraft's built, it comes in a crate from South Africa. And then it's actually like 4 or 5 crates and they build it. And then the owner has to do what they call a builder assist. So they come all over and spend a couple of weeks. And so in turn, they use our lodging and our restaurants and they all had real good, they really love the community because everybody's friendly and stuff like that. So if you're ever around and out there, because it'd be worth stopping and looking around there, but no, appreciate it. And thank you for the help.
Yep.
Don, thank you so much. I know it was a anxious time back when myself and Commissioner Muxlow come out. We were getting the FAA, try to get approved, and you stuck with it and you're persistent.
Yeah, and it's still, like I say, and I'm not complaining because I love aviation, and we're in a process of now redoing our tarmac. We had a new runway 2 years ago, so the FAA and MDOT's sticking a lot of money in our community, and they're doing another $1.2 million here this spring for taxiways, and which is funded through aviation fuel sales throughout the United States. So we're fortunate, but it's just, and you know how it is dealing with the FAA was out the other day, the main man, and it's just phenomenal that, and John knows that I'm still a lot of farmer left in me there. So, and I just started wearing shoes a month ago. So yeah, so I do appreciate it and hope to see us out there. Thank you.
Thanks, Don. Thank you. Public comment? Please state your name for the clerk.
Allison Edwards from City of Marlette. I just want to make a comment about the election integrity thing. And I'm hoping, I don't know exactly what county commissioners can and cannot do to secure our elections here, but I also want to know that you guys know that it's very important that we also protect our clerks, because our clerks are doing a really good job, and I think the corruption is coming from the state. So I'm not sure what we can do to protect Leslie or other clerks in the county, but also would like to suggest that we go back to hand counting. I've been election inspector for a very long time. We used to do it. I'd like to see us do it again. I believe you have the power to do that. So I'm just asking you to look into that, and also want to say that we need to protect our clerks in the county.
Appreciate your comment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Very good.
Any further public comment today? I hate to be like that, but I'm a stickler for the rules.
No, that's okay. I just thought, why am I comment about that thing? It's a long time. I didn't have that agenda part. Okay, my name is Wilma Henderson again, and I want to thank Leslie for helping us through this whole journey about finding our voter history. And Brett showed his last month, but this is mine. In July, there's 4 rows. A month later, 3 rows. So they know it's coming. They know we're finding out about them. And I'm just requesting, and in fact, I'm begging you, I guess, to give Scott Augany the time. And that way you're not getting information secondhand from the people in the community that's been calling our commissioners, and complaining. That way, I'm pleading with you to give him his minutes for our community to save our voting records. Okay. And the next thing is COVID restrictions are coming. And I'm pleading with you, do not shut our county down. Talk to our health commissioners. It's starting over for 2020 again. What's a better way to rig our elections than lock us down again? So it's their playbook.
Wilma, I could tell you that during the COVID pandemic, there was never a time that Sanilac County entered into any regulation that wasn't forced upon us by the state. And as soon as the state laid off regulation, we did not add any.
I know, but mask mandates and all this other stuff that needs to.
I understand that was all handled by the state. That was never the Board of Commissioners requiring that.
I didn't know if it followed down to the health department and they put strict.
We have purview over the health department for certain characteristics of the job, but the health director himself through statute has broad authority to do that beyond the scope of the power of the Board of Commissioners.
Okay, well, thank you. I didn't know. I'm just pleading my case here.
And I just want you to be informed.
Okay, well, thank you. And the next thing was the flags. We have a beautiful walking path over there. If we're running out of room because of MDOT coming, and I've seen those plans, they're not shortening the road out front here. They're just shortening it down there. But if we need to be flying our flags and not limiting our flags of the United States, the more the merrier, in my opinion. We should be lining our walking path then.
I don't think anybody does it better than Sanilac County. When
I don't either. And I that would be very sad the day comes that we cannot fly all in memory of our veterans, because I'm a parent of 3 people in the military. And when it comes to that day, you might as well kiss our country goodbye.
That was the very reason for the meeting that we had last week, to make sure that didn't end.
Yeah, but I'm saying if you run out of room, we got acres over there. Yeah, we shouldn't be limiting how many flags.
Well, there's a where there's a will, there's a way, right?
That's right. And I'm just, but thank you. And again, please give Scott the time. Okay. He's got a lot more information to tell you and proof.
I'll take it under consideration.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any further public comment? Okay. State your name for the clerk.
My name is Kathy Spiegel. I'm a resident of Sandusky. And in response to what Wilma was saying about the COVID lockdown, I guess I'd like to know what role our sheriff plays in that, because he has the ultimate authority of our county, right? To say, no, we're not doing this.
I would not speak for the sheriff. I would let him speak for himself in that case.
Okay. And what role do you have with the sheriff's office?
I don't tell him what he can and can't do.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Do you have any influence over what he?
That would digress into a very interesting conversation that I don't think is appropriate.
Okay. Maybe not here, but I guess I'm just wondering, and I thought I'd put it out there because, you know, we know Sheriff Darleaf wouldn't allow lockdowns in his county. And I think that's what we really need to do here. And if anybody has any influence over the sheriff, that might be a good idea. Right? Good. That's all I had to say.
Okay. Thank you. Any further public comment today?
My name is Diane Ferguson, and I would like to say I haven't heard anything said here that I don't support. I ask that you give Scott Agati the time for a Loki Stand investigation. I had an incident that happened up here in town with a child that was dragged, supposedly. And well, I'm one that once you open that book, I start looking into things, and I'm finding a lot of things that concern me within this county regarding that incident. Those that sit on multiple boards, I find as a conflict of interest. And more go to jail over a harmless plant than what they're doing to our children. I find that opposing. I mean, it's just, our laws need to be something done about our governor also did something with this sex offender registration during COVID, and there's a lawsuit filed there with UCL.
I think it's the ACLU.
ACLU. And that pretty much expunges their records. And so we have a men's shelter out here, a second one coming in, supposedly, so I hear. That men's shelter can take in people who are sex offenders, but you would never know it, apparently, because they get their records expunged. I also find it very concerning that Parks and Rec put a child George Hop playground right next to the men's shelter. I'm sorry. Where's common thinking? Where is it? I took an oath. I pledged to protect God's children. And I take it very seriously. As a child who was subjected to these things throughout my life, you damn well better be protecting our kids. Every day I look around and you know what I see? More World Economic Forum Agenda 2030 coming into my town. I saw the maps down here at City Hall. I went in, I saw how the roads are getting narrower and narrower and narrower. And sidewalks going from here to there. Who's going to walk 11-mile sidewalk? Electric vehicles don't work. If you're playing around with this, if you're entertaining this under sustainability, and you're not aware of what you're doing, then you better get educated really quick, or we're going to remove you. That's all I got to say.
Thank you for your comments. Any further public comment today? Seeing none. I see no need for closed session or approval of closed session minutes. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Support. I have a motion from Commissioner Lee, support from Commissioner Sarkella to adjourn at 1:57. Any discussions? Hearing none, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned at 1:57.
All right, thank you.